KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Impressive win for the Clippers last night in their season opener against Portland. Kawhi Leonard made all 5 of his three-pointers. He finished with 23 points. Paul George had a game-high 27. The Clippers are at Utah Friday night. The Lakers play their home opener tonight against Phoenix. Tip-off at 7 on TNT. Houston Astros manager Dusty Baker is retiring. The 74-year-old Baker had a 26-year career as a manager with 5 teams. His 2,183 wins in the regular season ranked 7th all-time. He's 4th all-time with 57 postseason wins. As a player, Baker played 8 of his 19 Major League seasons with the Dodgers. Baker's retirement leaves the Dodgers' Dave Roberts as Major League Baseball's only black manager. Major League Baseball needs to fix that stat. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Environmental justice, pollution, and climate. In Los Angeles and across America, people of color are suffering and dying from disproportionate health impacts on a planet that has less than 10 years to prevent irreversible damage. Heat illnesses, respiratory illnesses, water-related illnesses, food system impacts, insect-related diseases, black maternal health, and mental health effects. As the impacts of climate change mount, millions of vulnerable people, our people, are going to bear the brunt of these extreme environmental events, which will likely lead to forced displacement, loss of cultural identity, and other related risks. These realities are as real as rain. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details about the most progressive multimedia and live events campaign any black media outlet has ever undertaken to combat the climate catastrophe. Experts, events, empowerment. It's all on the way from unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580. We don't black down. We level up.
Level up, 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 level up.
Try to keep it coming. Things ain't always smooth, but I'll be alright as long as I can find the groove. Yes, I will. Somehow I know that I can make it. You seem to like my style. Don't you worry, I'm gonna be around a while. Yes, I will. I'm just happy to see you talk to me back in style again.
Live from historic Leimert Park in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me back in stride again. Before we get started with today's show, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley and get updates on X, that's formerly Twitter, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program or want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit TheTavisSmileyShow.com. That's TheTavisSmileyShow.com, or wherever you get your podcast, and listen to the Tavis Smiley podcast at your leisure. Another great show on tap for you today. In our second hour, imagine teaching a classroom full of seniors about the Founding Fathers and slavery. And their reaction to your lecture compels you to leave the building, go to your car, and cry it out. Well, that's exactly what happened to Jasmine Holmes. She says the response of her students to the lesson plan that day made her feel like she had to defend her humanity and her dignity for the first time in a classroom. It was the day she said she felt the full exhaustion of being a black teacher in white spaces. But she did not let misery have the last word. She's authored a new book about how proclaiming the truth of black dignity has actually helped to shape American history. And she'll join us today in hour two. In our third hour, two conversations. Up first, how many more racial dog whistles must we endure in these Republican presidential candidate debates? The next GOP debate just around the corner, November 8th in Miami to be exact. Only God knows how much worse things are going to get on a debate stage in Florida of all places. We'll talk about it with Calvin Schermerhorn, professor in the School of Historical, Philosophical, and Religious Studies at Arizona State University. On the B side of Hour 3, we'll talk politics with CNN senior political analyst John Avlon. Anxious to get John's read on the new Republican House Speaker, Louisiana's Mike Johnson. We'll talk about UAW's tentative contract agreement with Ford. 2 more to go, but they seem to have a deal with Ford. And I'll take John's temperature on yesterday's breaking news about the loan that Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas received from a wealthy friend to purchase an RV motorhome. Well, it turns out that the loan was forgiven. His benefactor just wiped the slate clean, raising all kinds of ethical and potential tax consequences for the justice. Clarence Thomas, Clarence Thomas, Clarence Thomas. I declare. We'll talk about it with John Avlon on the backside of Hour 3. In this first hour today, 2 more conversations on the B side of this hour. Oscar-nominated filmmaker Raoul Peck on his newest film, the heart-rending, sentimental, and frustrating, saw it just last night, Silver Dollar Road, which focuses on members of a family fighting to reclaim their waterfront property, unjustly ripped from their ancestral embrace. Powerful film. We'll talk about it with Raoul Peck on the backside of this hour. All that said, we commence today's show talking politics with an old adversary who has a new book. It's called Killing Witches, the Horror of Salem, Massachusetts. He's been killing it with these killing books, killing Lincoln, killing Kennedy, killing Reagan, killing Jesus. You're killing me, Bill O'Reilly. Welcome to our program. How are you today, sir?
I would never kill you, Tavis. You're too valuable a voice. I would protect you.
Okay.
You know, just like an offensive lineman for the Rams.
Yeah.
I would do.
I don't recall that. I don't recall that from our debates all those years ago on Fox News. You were not protecting me. You went in on me, man. I had to defend myself against you.
Well, that's freedom of speech and robust debate. That helps the country. But if anybody ever was mean to you, they'd have to answer to me.
No, that was nobody ever mean to me. Let me. You gonna say something? Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to just say, I know you want to talk about politics. That's fine. But Killing the Witches is the 13th in the Killing series, the best-selling nonfiction book series of all time anywhere on the planet, and I'm stunned. But that is the fact. And the book is about what happened in 1692, but also the witch hunts are back in 2023 in the form of cancel culture. So we do the whole gamut, and it's an enormous bestseller already, and I thank you for mentioning it.
No, I'm gonna do more than mention. I want to ask a few questions about it. Let me do that right now. We'll get to cancel culture, and trust me, I got a long list of things I want to ask you about in the time that we have today. But we'll start with the book. I ain't got a problem with that. This Killing series, to your point, it's remarkably successful. I was just reading the obit the other day of Steve Rubin, your publisher, who worked with you to get this idea off the ground, and what a huge success the series has been. Where did this idea come from?
I'm a former high school teacher. I taught in a ghetto school in Miami, and it was a challenge to get the urchins interested in history. And I did it in a very personal way by trying to make the people themselves come alive to them. And I think I succeeded to some extent there. Then I went into journalism, but I never forgot my teaching experience. And then when we became successful on the Fox News Channel, I wrote a bunch of contemporary books, all #1 bestsellers. We've had 18 #1s. And then I said, I pretty much did what I wanted to do in the contemporary range. Let me go back to the history stuff and write history in a very fun, entertaining way so that people learn about their country and the world. So 19 million copies later and 4 movies later, here we are talking about Killing the Witches.
I want to talk about Killing Witches in just a moment when we come forward. And once we get past talking about Killing Witches, a lot of other things to discuss. You don't have Bill O'Reilly on your program without poking at him on a number of things I'm sure he and I will not agree on, but we'll have some fun when we come forward. You're listening to Bill O'Reilly on Tavis Smiley.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Escalade IQ. This the intro to the all-electric Cadillac perfected like Zoom. And on a full charge, you get 450 miles without the stop. Haiku. This is what I do. Daddy fat intellect since 92. Linked all the way back, panoramic roof. Come with 24-inch rim standard. Ooh, why? Shout it, don't kill him. Cadillac diamond in the back, cold chillin'. And when I'm on attack, on the track is no ceiling. Sky's the limit. You hear me? You hear me? Straight drop, no parachutes. Lay lines like a longitude and latitude. Dilly, beloved, clearly, we're hustling. Bustin', truckin'. Cadillac, Cadillac, Cadillac. Ah.
For more on the Escalade IQ, visit Cadillac.com.
Available late 2024. GM estimate 450-mile range on a full charge based on development testing and/or analytical projection. Consistent with NCHA 1634 revision 2017 MCT. Range subject to change prior to production. Annual rates may vary based on service factors, including ambience temperature, terrain, battery age, and condition loading, and how you use and maintain your vehicle.
Attention small landlords who own 12 or fewer residential rental units. The City of LA Emergency Renters Assistance Program is back to help small landlords and is now accepting applications. Apply for up to 6 months of rental arrears for low-income residential tenants behind on rent. Applications will be accepted until October 31st, 2023 at 6 p.m. Go online 24/7 at housing.lacity.org or call 888-379-3150 to see if you qualify and apply today. City of LA Small Landlords. This program is for you.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a whole lot to talk about.
Hi, Maisha Cairo here, KBLA, live at Chase Bank on Crenshaw and Vernon for the In This Together tour with female business owners, a day of empowerment, community panels, and best of all, tips on building business from marketing to capital. Today I spoke with Tatiana, a community manager for JP Morgan Chase.
Thank you so much. Yes, my name is Tatiana Roberts. I am a community manager for JP Morgan Chase. And I have to honestly say that this has been the most fulfilling position that I've ever had, where I get to give back to the community because I saw my mom's struggles. That's really what fuels what I do to make sure that the community has all the access to the resources that my mother didn't have.
So for the mother who's in business, what are 3 quick tips you can give to ensure that they're on the right path to accessing financial support from a bank like Chase?
Say number 1, just make sure that you're checking your credit on a consistent basis and taking action to either fix your credit, maintain your credit, or rebuild your credit. The second thing would be budget. I know that B word is kind of like ugly for, right? A lot of people don't like that B word, but it has to be done. We need to tell our money where to go. The last thing is to build a network of supporters that are going to lift you up.
The community building here in Crenshaw is that network. So visit the Chase Community Center on Crenshaw and Vernon. Meet a banker today. Tell them about your business. I'm Maisha Cairo in the community for KBLA with JP Morgan Chase.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
Bill O'Reilly, before I jump into a litany of political issues, I want to run through the next 15 to 20 minutes that we have here. Back to your book, Killing Witches, The Horror of Salem, Massachusetts. You link that book, and again, for those who've just tuned in, Bill has a series of these. You probably already know that. As I said, killing Reagan, killing Kennedy, killing Patton, killing Jesus, killing everybody. And he's killing at the bookstore with this series. But you linked this notion of killing witches to cancel culture, that the killing witches notion is back. Tell me more about that link that you're making. I want to probe that, I think.
Okay. So the guy who uses the term witch hunt most is Donald Trump. I ran into some of his guys last week. I said, look, whenever Trump says witch hunt, can he hold up Killing the Witches, the cover? That would be really good marketing for me to do it. And the reason I wrote this book, Tavis, was because of the relevance today. In 1692, you're walking down the street, some 12-year-old girl points at you and shrieks and says, she's a witch, she's a witch, and a day later you're in a courtroom, 2 weeks later you have a noose around your neck. That literally happened to 20 human beings. There was no due process. You were guilty on accusation. Fast forward to today. Cancel culture. You're guilty. Accusation. In the media. You did it. And even if it's proven down the road you did not, that really doesn't matter. Okay? You're demonized, and your opponents will try to cancel you. Now, we have examples of regular people in Killing the Witches whose lives were totally destroyed by false accusations. Let me give you a vivid one your audience, I think, will respond to. there was an ESPN tennis analyst covering a Serena Williams match, and Venus Williams match, and he said on television, Ms. Williams is using guerrilla tactics, like guerrilla in a war, hit-and-run tactics. A New York Times stringer accused a man of calling Venus Williams a gorilla. ESPN fired him. He had a heart attack a few days after that. He has never recovered. This has got to stop. What's the difference between that and what happened in Salem outside of the public executions?
I know something of false accusations. We won't get into that. So I understand and resonate with that particular point. But I hope you're not telling me, given your invocation of Donald Trump in this conversation, that you're suggesting that he has been canceled for no good reason. I mean, there are all kinds of crimes, high crimes, misdemeanors he's been accused of in a variety of cases. I hope you're not telling me that you believe he is akin to what happened in the Serena Williams case, the Venus Williams case.
No, you took the bait, Tavis. I baited you with that.
I
Just like I did all those years ago on the O'Reilly factor. You took it. I knew you would.
Give it to me.
All I'm asking is for due process.
Mm-hmm.
If Donald Trump did something illegal, then the jury will find him guilty.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. But in the minds of many Americans, Trump's guilty no matter what. Am I correct?
I think you're probably right about that, but he's not guilty for no reason. He's guilty because we've seen these cases laid out. And again, the jury will have their say, and this audience will tell you. I say this all the time. I believe in.
And one more point.
Yeah, sure.
One more point. It's the same thing with Biden. It's exactly the same. The right has convicted Biden.
Right.
Of taking illegal money from Hunter Biden's grift.
Yep.
Okay, that's wrong.
So we agree.
You can't be doing that.
We agree on this. And I'm glad to say this. We both believe in due process, fundamental fairness, and the presumption of innocence. I believe in all three of those things with every fiber of my being. Due process, fundamental fairness, presumption of innocence. I've said it repeatedly. So if you're saying that, then I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Donald Trump being judged by a jury of his peers. I'm okay.
That's all I'm saying.
All right, well, then we agree. Let me move on. I can't imagine that fast into the conversation, that quick. O'Reilly and I actually agree on something.
Well, let's get to Clarence Thomas.
All right, let's go.
Okay, so Clarence Thomas is accused by a partisan senator, Wyden of Oregon, can't get more progressive, far left than him, of doing something untoward in accepting a loan from an American citizen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thomas's lawyer said, didn't happen. Didn't happen. Now, I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows whether it happened or not. But the reportage is Thomas did it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is wrong. So we got to see what the facts come out. However, I will say that no Supreme Court justice or any judge should be taking loans from private individuals or vacations or gifts.
So we agree on that point.
I don't.
No, so just a second.
I don't. Do you? I don't take anything.
I agree with you on that. I agree. I think that's the second point that you've changed over the years, man.
I haven't changed. You've just gotten smarter.
Oh, okay. I've gotten smarter. Okay.
That's all. I'm the same.
Okay. So we agree on two things. But here's the thing. The reportage, as you put it, is that Clarence Thomas did it. But that reportage, again, we believe in due process, fundamental fairness, presumption of innocence. He has a right to make his case. But this data comes from the U.S. Senate. We want to at least believe.
It comes from Wyden. It doesn't come from the U.S. Senate.
He's in the U.S. Senate. It comes from a sitting U.S. senator who I want to believe is not making this stuff up. But I agree with you. Let's have Clarence Thomas have his say. Here's the other point, though, which you have to acknowledge. There's a pattern here with Clarence Thomas. This ain't the first time, second time, third time. So the reportage is what it is, but it exists in part because there's a pattern here with Clarence Thomas. You're not denying that, are you?
I don't know what the pattern is you're talking about.
Oh, come on, Bill. We've gone through this 1,000 times with Clarence Thomas.
Wait. What is the pattern? He's accepted gifts.
Yes.
From friends. Okay.
Wealthy friends with cases oftentimes in front of the court from which he has not recused himself. Say the whole sentence, Bill. That's the whole sentence.
I don't know about that.
Oh,
I know
okay.
that he took vacations from Crow, a real estate guy in Dallas who he's friends with.
Mm-hmm.
And then I looked it up because we covered this.
Sure.
And there isn't any prohibition in the Supreme Court against that. There should be.
Exactly.
Absolutely should be.
Issue number three.
But,
issue number 3 that we agreed on. There is no
yeah,
code.
I mean,
there is no code of ethics.
You can't have it at that level.
Yeah, there's
but
no code of
Thomas is a target. Come on, Clarence Thomas has been a target from day one, and you've got to factor that into all of these accusations.
Yep. You call him a target. I wouldn't call him a target. I would suggest that Clarence Thomas has disappointed a lot of people. As an African American who took the seat once held by Thurgood Marshall, there's no denying that. I admit that he's disappointed a whole lot of us. But I wouldn't call him a target. I just think he's wrong.
You wanted him to?
Yeah, I think he's wrong. I wouldn't call him a target.
Okay.
I disagree with you. You disagree with me, but I wouldn't call you a Tavis Smiley target. I just disagree with you on some fundamental issues.
No, but he's been a target from day one, and everybody knows he's been a target because he's a conservative African American.
Yeah, again, I wouldn't call him a target, but let me move on. I take your point. Let me move on to some other issues. Lewiston, Maine. We saw this story last night. It's developing as we speak. At the moment, we're told about 18 fellow citizens have been murdered. We'll see if that number rises. Is anybody on the right? I mean, one other set of facts here, some data. To date, as we sit right now, Bill, 35,275 gun murders this year. 35,275 so far. 565 mass shootings. 565 as of this moment. Is anybody on the right willing to admit yet that we have a gun problem in America?
It depends how you define the gun problem. More than 90% of the mass shootings are criminal generated. That most of them come from drug gangs. Okay, more than 90%. The nuts like the Lewiston, Maine thing, they're very few. I think the number is 5%. However, they're devastating, and they happen every 3 months or so. They embarrass the United States all around the world. The perception of our country is that we're a bunch of violent people and no respect for life at all. Now, when you say there's a gun problem, there are more than 300 million guns in circulation in this country right now. Even if you ban the sale of guns tomorrow, you do not solve the problem. And you cannot ban the sale of guns because the Founding Fathers ruled when they put together the Constitution that American citizens have the right to defend themselves with firearms. That's the crux of the matter. Now, there was a coach in the Sacramento team last night said, if we don't solve this problem, our nation's going to dissolve. Well, coach, you're not going to solve the problem of individual maniacs going out and killing people. You will never solve that problem. It's never been solved anywhere on earth. You can solve the criminal gun problem. That can be solved, but there's no will to do it on either side.
To your point, that's not been solved any place on the earth. It hasn't had to be solved any place else on the earth because other societies aren't as rampant with guns as we are in this country. That's why it didn't have to be solved any place else.
No, this is a violent society because there's 350 million people here with maximum freedom. That's why. And other countries don't have the freedoms that we have. The first thing the Third Reich did when it took power in 1933 was outlaw any guns in private hands. Stalin and Mao did the same thing. Mao executed people who were found with firearms, just shot them dead along with the opium addicts.
Let me ask you whether or not this particular freedom you think is worth the price that we're paying these days, 35,000
Absolutely.
Plus
you have to have the ability to defend yourself. Maine is a rural state. It is not a violent state. Most people live out in the country. They have to have the ability to defend themselves. Police are reactive, not proactive. You have to have the ability to protect yourself and your family.
I've got 5 minutes left with Bill O'Reilly. In case you just tuned in, he's our guest. His new book is called Killing Witches, The Horror of Salem, Massachusetts. His best-selling series of books on killing all kinds of people and issues is out with its latest one, again, called Killing Witches, just in time for the Halloween season.
You bet.
Yeah, a few minutes left with Bill, and I want to cover a few more things right quick. Let me circle back to Trump right quick because he got fined again yesterday. It was $5,000 a few days ago. Now it's another fine of $10,000. There's a great debate. I've seen folk on the left and the right going back and forth about this, whether or not this gag order is in fact constitutional on Trump. Your take?
Well, number one, Trump should shut up.
We agreed. Issue number 4. We agree. You got to shut up and take a few seats.
This is just common, Tavis. This is just common sense.
Yeah.
All right, he's not doing himself any good.
Mm-hmm.
All right? So he's a friend of mine for more than 30 years. You may know that.
I do.
And I speak with him on occasion. And I tell him the same thing. Why are you hurting yourself? Why are you doing this? You have attorneys to do this. You don't have to do it. Your MAGA people already believe that you are being innocently that this is a whole witch hunt kind of thing. They already believe it. And the people who hate you will never believe it. What do you have to gain? Nothing. The courts have an obligation to protect the people that work for the court. So if you got a big guy like Trump saying so-and-so is horrible, that so-and-so then gets in danger, possibly, okay? So that's the logic behind it. I think that Trump should measure his comments and be very factual in them. And if I were the judge, I would allow him to speak on a factual basis by the fact that I didn't do this, I believe this happened. He can say anything. But when he gets personal, then he gets fined. I think that's fair.
How would you assess the way the U.S. at the moment is stewarding the Israel-Hamas war?
I think Biden's policies are correct in the sense that he has to support Israel. I wrote a book called Killing the Killers, and you should read this book. How the United States dismantled Al-Qaeda and ISIS. Methodically how we did it, tracked their leadership down and killed them. Israel has got to take what we did successfully and use it against Hamas. Hamas is Hitler. There's no difference. Hitler wanted to kill Jews. Hamas wants to kill Jews. What did we do to Hitler? We annihilated him and his movement. That has to happen with Hamas. There's no negotiating with people who go in and cut the heads off babies. Okay? This isn't a complicated issue. Biden is doing the right thing. The problem is he's perceived in the terror world as very weak. And they push and test him. And that's what Iran is doing, who's behind all this right now.
And what about the innocent Palestinians who are being slaughtered in this process?
That is unjustifiable if the civilians are being targeted. And I do not believe that is the case right now.
So it's okay if they're just collateral damage?
You know, okay is a terrible word, but you have to look at it's an urban fight. The Hamas terrorists do not let anybody do anything. They rule by the gun. They rule their own people by the gun. And so these people are caught. Israel has not gone in yet trying to get as many civilians out. I'd like to see the Arab nations take some of these people, wouldn't you?
I'd like to see the Arab nations just stay out of it at the moment. I don't want this thing to become a wider war, and that's my concern.
No, but in a humanitarian way, wouldn't you support Saudi Arabia and Egypt taking these innocent people, women and children, out of there?
It's a great question. Let me tell you why I'm ambivalent about it. I'm ambivalent about it because I think it gives Israel a way out, as it were, to continue this ground offensive, which I think is going to cause more death and more destruction. I'm all for a ceasefire.
But they have to.
But if you have a ceasefire, you don't need Arab nations to take people.
No. If you have a ceasefire, Hamas wins.
Well,
if you have a ceasefire, Hamas stays intact. No, wait. You're a logical guy. If you have a ceasefire, Hamas wins. They stay intact with their weaponry and are able to attack down the road anytime they want. That's what a ceasefire does.
We'll pick up on that debate next time. I thank you for coming on now. The book is called Killing Witches, The Horror of Salem, Massachusetts, written by Bill O'Reilly. Bill, we'll do it again, man. All the best to you. Thanks for your time.
I appreciate you having me in, and I'm glad you're doing well, Tavis.
Likewise. Take care, sir. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. BenefitsCheckup.org.
My daughter was diagnosed with a rare malignant rhabdoid tumor on the spine. They sent her straight to St. Jude. My hope was gone. But when you get there, everyone's like, hey, we're not going to give up. And when you see other people not giving up on your child, that makes all the difference in the world. When I found out I didn't have to pay, I was just grateful. They saved my baby's life.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. New Speaker of the House Mike Johnson is receiving congratulations from former President Trump. Wednesday, Trump spoke to reporters outside a New York courtroom and said Johnson is a tremendous leader and a tremendous man who will be a great Speaker of the House. Trump also took credit for the Louisiana Republicans' win, saying nobody was thinking of him on Tuesday, but after Trump mentioned his name, he became the GOP's top choice for the gavel. In Illinois, bond is denied for a former NFL player charged in the death of his mother last month. African-American Sergio Brown appeared in court yesterday on first-degree murder charges. Prosecutors say the defendant was the last person seen with his mother before her body was found by neighbors on September 16th. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
The Monterey Bay Aquarium is more than a place to learn about ocean animals. They're also working to inspire conservation of the ocean by stopping plastic pollution, supporting sustainable seafood, and minimizing our carbon footprint. Join them in their efforts to protect the ocean.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Impressive win for the Clippers last night in their season opener against Portland. Kawhi Leonard made all 5 of his 3-pointers. He finished with 23 points. Paul George had a game-high 27. The Clippers are at Utah Friday night. The Lakers play their home opener tonight against Phoenix. Tip-off at 7 on TNT. Houston Astros manager Dusty Baker is retiring. The 74-year-old Baker had a 26-year career as a manager with 5 teams. His 2,183 wins in the regular season ranked 7th all-time. He's 4th all-time with 57 postseason wins. As a player, Baker played 8 of his 19 Major League seasons with the Dodgers. Baker's retirement leaves the Dodgers' Dave Roberts as Major League Baseball's only black manager. Major League Baseball needs to fix that stat. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Race, culture wars, political turf battles, criminal justice and injustice, the courts. These are the conversations you won't hear elsewhere. My guests are leading journalists, celebrities, and sports figures, elected leaders, and influencers. They aren't afraid to get into it and say the quiet part out loud. With Ariva Martin in real time, your commute just became the most engaging part of your day. Tune in weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. or find us on YouTube. Ariva Martin in real time, when you want it straight, no chaser.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
The Green Foundation, key health influencer, empowering our black communities through action. The Green Foundation advocates for affordable health care, accessibility, and knows the importance of culturally relatable health care. Regardless of income, we believe it is a right for optimum health. The Green Foundation has been at the forefront for 25 years, dedicated solely to promoting prevention through early detection, annual screenings, and nutrition. We know you because we are you. Our hand-holding approach supports you and your family to receive your right to be treated fairly and receiving quality healthcare services. We want you and your family to know COVID-19 was devastating to our families and to our wallet. We can build back better by understanding prevention, wearing your mask, washing your hands, social distancing, and understanding the impact of long COVID. Get the care you deserve. Take advantage of your privileges. Contact us, info@thegreenfoundation.net. info@thegreenfoundation.net.
For all of us, this generation and the next, there is simply no place in our lives for litter. And yet, it's everywhere we look. And unfortunately, it does belong to all of us. So, let's come together and create a litter-free, clean California, once and for all. Remember to properly dispose of your trash and recycling. Secure truckloads with tarps to keep debris from flying out. Clean out your car when you're at a gas station. Take pride in your community by organizing a cleanup event. Or join a cleanup event near you. Zero litter is the goal. Join us at cleanca.com. That's cleanca.com. Let's do it together. Brought to you by Caltrans. cleanca.com.
Sounds different, huh? This is Tavis Smiley.
Conversation now with Oscar-nominated filmmaker Raoul Peck on his newest film, the heart-rending, sentimental, and frustrating Silver Dollar Road. I watched it last night, and trust me, I chose those words very carefully. It is heart-rending. It is sentimental. It is frustrating. Once again, it's called Silver Dollar Road, which focuses on members of an African-American family fighting to reclaim their waterfront property unjustly ripped from their ancestral embrace. Before I commence our conversation with the great Raoul Peck, take a listen to the trailer for the project.
It was town is what we always called it. Grandma's taking us to town. It was a beautiful memory until I became an adult and realized some of the things that happened that made me think this is not such a pretty place anymore.
Growing up here on Silver Dollar Road was so magical. It was the one place you could go, you wasn't worried about being targeted by the law.
That property was so valuable, and not from a monetary standpoint, but valuable because of the history.
The first owner of the property, he was born in slavery times.
My great-grandfather died without a living will.
Before he died, he said, whatever you do, don't let the white man have my land.
Okay, yeah. This is our beach. This is our land. Right? This is our water, our club, everything. This is our land. Okay. This is our home. Yeah. This is our club, our space, anything.
There's word of part of the property being sold to someone else that the family had no knowledge of.
We was getting threats. Came down and put eviction notice on La Curtis and Melvin houses.
My Uncle Melvin told me, I need your help. If they're saying we have to sign our rights away or go to jail, I'm going to jail. It was heartbreaking to see them change.
I went in at 52 and come out at 61. They took the best years of my life.
We fighting power, we fighting money.
What are you doing?
They really wanted this land.
Can't you see that you're breaking?
If you clear out Silver Dollar Road, what you gonna do with us? What you gonna do with poor people, period?
Will it heal my wounded heart?
The family gets shot from the rooftops. The truth. Nobody listened to them.
Will it heal me before?
This is ours. Our ancestors left this here for us.
Will it heal my wounded?
All of this is what you're fighting for.
Raoul Peck, it's an honor, sir, to be in dialogue with you again. It's been too long. How are you, sir?
I'm fine. Thank you again for inviting me.
Oh, no, it's always my great honor to be in dialogue with a filmmaker of your stature. I'm just humbled and tickled that we get a chance to talk once again for these few moments. I am always fascinated when I come across stories, when I'm exposed to stories that I knew nothing of. And again, I can't have a grasp of everything, but sometimes these stories, as I said, are so heart-wrenching. and so frustrating when you get exposed to it. You feel bad that you didn't know about it. I'm just curious, for starters, how this story came across your desk.
Well, it started on an article and an incredible research done by Lizzie Presser, a journalist of ProPublica, and she spent several years in that region and came up to the real family story that was quite well known in the small county of Carteret and around Beaufort, and she met them and started her inquiry and uncovered this incredible and heart-wrenching story.
It is. I'm trying to figure out. I was thinking last night as I was watching this about how to talk about it without giving too much of it away. But this is a story really about black folk and the dispossession of their land. And this is not a new story. It's happened repeatedly. It still happens, quite frankly. But the story of this particular family and what they have had to endure. And again, not trying to spoiler alert, that the fact that some members of their family ended up in jail for years, for refusing to vacate their property. They're in jail for years for trespassing, essentially, on their own land. I wonder if you can tell me a bit more about the story without these spoiler alerts, Raul Peck. You're the filmmaker. I'll let you do it.
Well, it's a situation that is unheard of in the whole history of the justice system in the United States. They were never condemned for a crime, and they spent 8 years in a sheriff's jail because they couldn't be sent to a federal prison. At least there they would have some sort of services. They could go out. They could have library and all sort of attention. But they were basically in a sheriff's jail waiting to come in front of a judge. But the judge basically told them, unless you sign a paper that you're going to vacate your land and destroy your two houses, you're going to stay in jail. And you're dealing with two older men, and they preferred to go to jail and stay in jail than to leave the land of their ancestors. And that's an incredible story of resilience and of defiance, of course. And because those people, they didn't need anybody. I found it ironic in a country where conservative politicians are always, very of giving you lecture about pull oneself by your own bootstraps, where everybody else on this continent have got land given to them. There have been laws giving land to all the immigrants.
That's right.
Starting, from the first 500 years. By the way, land that was stolen from the indigenous people. People forget that.
Oh, yeah.
Indigenous people, by the way, never said that land belongs to them. That's a European concept. Indigenous people were the caretaker of that continent.
No question. We discussed that.
And then you imported. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Finish your point, Raul. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And then you have a European concept, which is property, land property, that is imposed on a new continent. You make it a new world as if nothing else existed before, and then you make land a commodity that you could buy, exchange, sell, and then you brought in people and you made commodity as well out of them, and you make them exploit that very land that you just stole, and that's the whole concept of this new world, the so-called American dream, which was never a dream for everybody.
Yeah.
No, it was never great
for
a lot of people on this country.
No question. We discussed on this program a couple weeks ago what you're talking about right now, Raul, the Homestead Act. The Homestead Act in this country gave a whole lot of land that had been stolen from Native Americans to our white brothers and sisters. And even as folk push back on the notion of reparations, there are at least, by estimates, 25% of white fellow citizens living today in this country right now who have inherited land as a result of that Homestead Act. So to Raoul Peck's point, folk were given all kinds of land in this country, and yet the story of this family having their land essentially stolen from them, and they refused, these two older black gentlemen refused to leave the land, refused to tear down their homes, and for that they spend 8 years in a jail. To Raoul's point, not a prison, but 8 years in a jail because they refused to leave, they refused to sign. It is the ultimate story of black land dispossession, but resilience in the face of all that. And I highly, highly recommend you see this movie, Silver Dollar Road. We'll tell you more about it when we come forward. By the way, Raoul Peck, you hear the accent. Raoul Peck was at one point Haiti's Minister of Culture. I always want to celebrate that. And we'll talk a bit about it when I come forward with him in a moment, because he knows that one of the best things he's ever done. He did a piece on James Baldwin. If you saw the James Baldwin piece, I Am Not Your Negro, Raoul Peck did that. One of the best documentaries I've ever seen in my 59 years of living. If you have never seen I Am Not Your Negro, you have to see that. And now you will add to that list his new amazing piece of work called Silver Dollar Road. More with Raoul Peck. When we come forward, you're listening to Tavis Smiley.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like freedom. What is dedication?
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that my kids wouldn't have a father. And I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. I definitely had to become a better man to be a better father. It's important to me that my kids are empowered and truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Joey from Vermont, a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, and I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
At Susan G. Komen, we believe that ending breast cancer needs all of us working together. Because if you've just been diagnosed and don't know where to turn, we've got you. If you can't afford the treatment you need, we've got you. And if you are driven to honor the loved one you've just lost, we have a place for you here. Because of you, we're supporting those who need help today while tirelessly searching for tomorrow's cures. Visit Komen.org and be a part of our Susan G. Komen community today.
Do you have both Medi-Cal and Medicare?
If so, the new LA Care plan called Medicare Plus can help you get the most out of your health plan for $0.
LA Care provides personalized service to Angelinos like us.
Plus, it gives us access to doctors and specialists across Los Angeles County.
For zero cost, we get access to full benefits.
From vision coverage,
in-home support services,
to prescription drug coverage,
and a quarterly over-the-counter allowance.
Plus personal equipment,
meal programs,
a gym membership,
and so much more.
For more than 25 years,
LA Care has provided Angelinos with access to quality health care at an affordable cost.
For our families,
our seniors,
our community,
it's a plus.
It's a plus
for all of us.
Ready to re-examine your assumptions and expand your inventory of ideas? More of Tavis Smiley coming your way right now.
More of Tavis Smiley in conversation with amazing filmmaker Raoul Peck. His latest is called Silver Dollar Road. It focuses on the shocking case of black land dispossession in this country, telling the story of one particular family. Again, I highly recommend you check out Silver Dollar Road. Raul, let me pivot and cover a couple other things before I circle back to that particular film. I mentioned, of course, a moment ago that you are at one point Haiti's Minister of Culture. You used the word resilient earlier in this conversation to describe this black family. Indeed, they are a resilient family. But I know no people on the globe who are more resilient than the Haitian people. What do you make of that?
Well, we have an incredible history of resistance, first of all. Haiti was the first independent and free republic of the whole continent. The United States tend to say that they are the first free republic of the continent, but only for a part of its population. So Haiti really was a trailblazer in 1804, and it's thanks to Haiti that Napoleon had to sold, 1/3 of this country to the United States. Otherwise, the U.S. would have been for a long time only the 13th state on the east. So Haiti have been, very close to U.S. history and have helped most Latin American countries to become independent. So we carried that history with us.
Yeah, no, it's an amazing history. And again, I know no people who are more resilient than the Haitian people. When we come forward in our remaining moments with Raul Peck, I want to just say a word about I Am Not Your Negro. Again, this piece that he did, this documentary about James Baldwin that I'm absolutely in love with, and the companion book that goes along with it. And one other thing or so about Silver Dollar Road, we're talking with Raul Peck, and you're listening to Tavis Smiley.
From Leimert Park with love, this is Tavis Smiley.
What's up, party people? It's your favorite MC's favorite rapper, MC Light here. And we're celebrating 50 years of hip-hop, authentically powered by Cadillac. And we're going to take it way back to where it started. It was only fitting that hip-hop began with teenagers at a back-to-school jam in the rec room of a South Bronx apartment complex by an 18-year-old brother. By the way, I'm also sure he had a Cadillac parked outside. He noticed the energy on the dance floor when he switched between two turntables, extending the beats, repeating the breaks, and never losing the rhythms. And that was the birth of hip-hop. And from that moment, it took off.
For more on how Cadillac is celebrating hip-hop's 50th, visit Cadillac.com/audacity.
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take. And when I left the oven on, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan. Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. Pro Football Hall of Famer and urban peace pioneer Jim Brown believed in just that. So he founded the AmeriCAN Foundation for Social Change in 1988, focusing on at-risk and high-risk youth in underserved schools and juvenile detention facilities, as well as adult incarceration and reentry initiatives. The core of the AmeriCAN program is its 15-chapter life skills curriculum. Mastery of these skills allows individuals to meet their academic potential, conform their behavior to acceptable societal standards, and improve the quality of their lives by equipping them with what they need to confidently and successfully contribute to society. Today, the foundation is led by its president, Monique Brown, who has been actively involved in the organization for more than 25 years. The AmeriCAN Foundation continues its work in memory of its founder, actor, philanthropist, and NFL legend Jim Brown. To get involved or make a donation, please visit AmeriCANCommunity.partners. That's AmeriCANCommunity.partners. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Roll Charmin ultra strong when you drop in the beat. It cleans with way less effort on your seat. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Charmin flows extra strong from the road. Your butt hella clean while you're sitting on the bowl, yeah. It's all you need for that bathroom groove. Get you in and out without nothing to prove.
Charmin Ultra Strong cleans better so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Who do you trust to get at the truth? Tavis Smiley. That's who. The conversation continues right now.
It does indeed with the brilliant filmmaker Raoul Peck. His newest film is called Silver Dollar Road, focusing on a shocking case of black land dispossession in the U.S., down south specifically, and what this family had to endure trying to hold on to land that had been their family for generations. 2 persons in the family end up going to jail for 8 years because they refused to vacate this land. The movie is called Silver Dollar Road. It's streaming right now on Amazon Prime. Again, Amazon Prime is where you can see Silver Dollar Road. I don't know where you can see I Am Not Your Negro these days. You got to find that James Baldwin documentary. Raul, just a few minutes left here. When you do films like Silver Dollar Road and I Am Not Your Negro and you own that lane, nobody does it quite as well as you do. What do you hope to accomplish by bringing these stories to us?
Well, you know, every film I make, I always hope that it's the beginning of something, you know, not the end. I don't want to make a story that you would just, as an audience, consume and forget.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's always about the process. It's about us learning our own history, because without knowing our own history, it's really hard to fight.
Mm-hmm.
And the story of land disposition here, it's the story, it explains everything we are living through today, economically, politically, and historically.
Mm-hmm.
You know, without having access to land, you cannot build wealth. You cannot leave anything to your descendants. And everybody else have profited from that on this country. And so without understanding that, you know, the disparity continues, you know. It's the wealth gap will continue, you know,
Yeah.
and it explains everything from how many black people are in prison today, where we live, in what kind of neighborhood we live, and how even today you still have gentrification in the urban part of this country. So without knowing that whole history from its beginning, so the story of the real family is emblematic for this, but it's all over the country from Texas to Alaska.
Yeah. There's a powerful moment in this film where the patriarch of the family knows he's dying, and he calls in his family, his daughter in particular, and one of the last words, last phrases he utters is, "Don't let these white folk get my land. Don't let these white folk get our land." And the minute he dies, all hell breaks loose. And again, those two offspring, those 2 black males, at least honored that patriarch and ended up going to jail for 8 years, refusing to get off this land. You must see this film, Silver Dollar Road, now streaming on Amazon Prime. Let me close in the 90 seconds I have, Raoul Peck, with this. One of the things I love, perhaps the thing I love best about the way you do films, is that you let these persons, these protagonists, as it were, tell the story in their own words. I see all kind of documentarians who want to get involved in the film, and you see them on film, and if you don't see them, you hear their voice asking questions. That's not your way. You let the folk, including James Baldwin, in their own words, tell their own story. Why is that so effective, you think?
Well, because first of all, you know, to have 2 women like Kim and Mamie in the film telling their own story, I wanted to give them the center stage. I want them to be as eloquent as they are, because they are strong women. They know their story. They know the case perfectly. And by the way, they are funny as well sometimes.
Yes.
and you know, the film was there. You know, I just was almost like a spectator, you know, watching the story evolve.
Yeah.
And as you saw, you know, I didn't want to have 2 sides.
Yes.
I stayed with the family throughout the whole film.
Yeah. You are far more than a spectator, my friend. You are an amazing, brilliant filmmaker of the highest order, and you've done it again with Silver Dollar Road, now streaming on Amazon Prime. You heard Raoul Peck say earlier, he does this so that we can learn our history, and the we's not just us, it's everybody in America, because our history is American history. It's a history lesson for all of us, but you will be Again, you'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll be frustrated, your heart will be tugged at, but you will not be disappointed when you go to Amazon Prime and check out Raoul Peck's latest film called Silver Dollar Road. And I repeat, if you can find it, get I Am Not Your Negro. You have to see that, the story of James Baldwin. Raoul Peck, you did it again, man. I appreciate you. All the best to you, my friend. Stay strong.
Well, thank you, Travis. Thank you for having me.
My great delight. Thank you for your time. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
We'd like to thank you for sharing a part of your Thursday morning with us here on the Black Information Network. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest. In his first act as the newest Speaker of the House of Representatives, Wednesday, Mike Johnson brought a resolution supporting Israel to the floor. The Louisiana Republican filling the seat after former Speaker Kevin McCarthy was ousted 3 weeks ago said